If you're in a long-term relationship, you might want to listen to this. And especially if you want to get and stay in a long-term relationship, you're definitely going to want to listen to this. You see, out there's many different ways to keep a long-term relationship going, to keep the fire going. Some say touch, sex, quality time, time apart. All that is true, yes. But one vital piece that nobody talks about is actually going deeper and really getting to know your partner over and over again. In this episode, I'm gonna be giving you 5 questions that you can use to get to know your partner on a completely different level that make you go, oh shit, I didn't know that about you. Because the key to keeping the fire going is to keep sparking it. And these questions will help you do that. So, if that's what you want to know more about, then stay tuned. Let's hop into this episode and let's get into it. Welcome back to the Red Velvet Podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Rosario. Thank you so much for coming back here. Now, listen, I know, and at this point, I feel bad. It feels like a broken record. And I didn't put out episodes, especially the week of Valentine's Day, but the timing could not have been any more horrible. My daughter at the time, she caught this stomach bug that was going around town. She was just throwing up stuff, like even breast milk. And so that was going on top of other things that were personally going on in my life. And who knows, I may turn it into an episode, and I do feel terrible about it. And, especially, that I said I would be here for you, but I intend to make it up. I intend to make amends. And so for this upcoming month, for the rest of the month of February, we're gonna have Valentine's Day themed episode geared to helping you, get really lovey-dovey. Like, especially if you're in a relationship, this episode is definitely gonna do that. And if you're single, the episode after this is also gonna help you get lovey-dovey as well. And so yeah, I'm gonna make it up to you. And now that I think about it, if you haven't yet, check out the description below in the show notes where there's a section where you can sign up to the Red Velvet Podcast newsletter. That is where I'm going to make all the announcements, and also if I have to make a change, if suddenly an episode's not going to be put out and maybe something needs to be postponed, you'll hear about it then. So if you want to stay up to date on all the new updates, check out that below. Now, for this episode, I wanted to talk about something real. I wanted to talk about connecting with your partner, really getting intimate. Now, when people hear that, they think sex. But I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about getting to know your partner beyond the surface, beyond the mask, beyond what you think you know. Because it's only when we really get to know the human being that we really get to connect with them. And for us guys, that is something that we don't experience too often. I mean, maybe we do with our guy friends, but not too much in our relationships because we are afraid of being judged. We're afraid of being seen weak. We're afraid of being thought of as weird. And for me, I think it's interesting how you can be in a relationship with someone for such a long time and them never know the real you. You get what I'm saying? And so what I wanted to touch on this episode is I wanted to touch on specifically that. I want to give you the tools and I want to help you create the space where you can be seen without jeopardizing your manhood, without jeopardizing your masculinity. And I found an awesome way to do this, and it's via a card game. The card game is called The And. I saw it while scrolling Facebook one time, and what it is, it's a box full of questions. And these questions, they hit really deep, and these are questions that you ask each other back and forth to really get to know the person from across from you. And they have different versions too, so they have some for people who have been married for a long time, people who have just started dating. They also have them for friends, siblings, I believe, definitely from parents to child. So they have a bunch of different variations for you just to have a conversation, a real deep conversation, and really open up and let your partner know, hey, here's what's on my mind. Here's really how I feel about things. And I think once we have that information, once we're able to share that, like I said at the very beginning, that we create the opportunity to be seen as ourselves without the mask, without the, the image that we try to put out. You get what I'm saying? And so while this episode is not sponsored by them, and by the way, if you guys over at The And ever listen to it, hey, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I really love these questions, and I wanted to share 5 with you, 5 of my favorites. These are 5 questions that you can use in your relationship, in your conversation, to have a cool talk with your partner, to really get to know each other in different ways, and to really bond. And so when I first did this, I bought it, and me and my partner, we did it during Valentine's Day. And it was nice. We got some wine, we sat down, we asked each other these questions, and it was funny because we grew to have a different appreciation for each other. And we found out how one person admires the others in ways that are other than like, oh, you're funny. Oh, you're good looking. I love your legs. Other than that. And so it was really beautiful to hear that and to have that conversation. And so I'm gonna share these 5 questions with you. I want you to use them with your partner this week, and let me know. Just write me back, either DM me on Instagram. I'm at pablo.j.rosario. Send me an email at pablo. Where am I? Oh, pablo@pablojrosario.com. Almost forgot my email there for a second. But yeah, just let me know how it works for you. I would love to hear it. So this is what you're gonna do. Let's just get right into it. What you're gonna do is like you're gonna grab your partner, and then you're gonna introduce it like this, like, hey, I've been listening to this podcast, and they actually gave some questions that allow you to know your partner, some cool questions we can ask each other to get to know each other, to get connected a little bit deeper. Would you be up for it? It doesn't take too long. And chances are they'll say yes. And then you tell them, cool, it goes like this. So the first thing you're going to do is that you're gonna sit across from each other, and then you're going to look into each other's eyes, and you're just going to breathe. Breathe and get centered. Definitely make eye contact while you're breathing and while you are just syncing and connecting with each other that way to all just get on the same page. Do it for about 30 seconds and then begin to read the questions. Now, every question has to be read, but not every question has to be answered, which means that if you want to pass, then the rule is you have to look at your partner in the eye for 10 seconds and then say pass. Make sense? Now, for most of these questions, I don't think you'll want to pass. I haven't passed yet. I mean, there's a shitload of questions, so we haven't gotten through all of them. But just so you know what the rules are. And so the way it goes that one person asks one question and then the other person answers. Then you reverse, where the second person asks a question and then the other person answer it. Now, being that I'm only giving you 5 here, what I recommend is to just both answer the question. Whereas if you had the actual game, you can just trade off by one person asks a question and another person asks a question. But like I said, since it's just 5 questions, you can go and answer the same questions. And so I'm gonna say these questions, explain them a little bit, show why they're my favorite, my thoughts on it, and boom, let's get into it. So it goes like this. So the very first question is, describe specifically the moment you realized you loved me. Now, I love this question because I feel like this question is very revealing. Because first off, the moment where you realize, yo, I love someone, it's a very beautiful moment. It's a moment where there's a transition that happens from, oh, I like this person and they're pretty cool, to I love this person. And for guys, we're so macho and things like that, where it's like, we don't talk about these things. But to be able to tell your partner, yo, this is the moment I realized I loved you, is super revealing. It's great for the partner to hear, because it's always a beautiful story to tell. But for the guy, or at least I'm just talking for guys, obviously. Men's dating coach is my background. But I feel like for guys, it's awesome to recount that experience because it tells you what's important to you. It reveals to you what are the needs and the little things that are important to you that causes you to fall for somebody. Because too often we think about falling in love and loving someone as like someone like, yeah, I guess I love her and it just happens. But I think it's important for you to know, like, what does it for me? What makes me happy? You get what I'm saying? So like, for example, for me, the moment that I realized I loved my partner was, I remember the first time I slept over for the first night. And the next morning, I remember waking up and she comes and she makes me breakfast in bed. She has this little table that you put on top of the bed, and then she had a single waffle so neatly put together, and there was a fork and the knives on the left and right of it. And in that moment, I was like, oh shit, I think I love this girl. And it was wild for me. Like, what that made me realize is that one of the things that's important for me is to be taken care of. Now, for me, I'm typically the person in my life that are taking care of others. I'm the one that's usually giving the advice. I'm usually the one that's helping everyone out. And I have no problem. I love doing that, especially with the people that I love. So that's not a problem at all. But typically with people who are the type to give advice, they usually are not the type to receive. They are not accustomed to receive. And so to see that, the care, it was such an act of love. I was like, I've never had this before. And through the waffle, this sounds crazy, but through the waffle, I felt the love, I felt the care, and I was like, oh shit. And that's when it hit me, yo, I love this girl. And that's what made it important for me. Like it lit the light bulb in me that one of my secret needs, the things that I need to fall in love, it is to be taken care of. To, little things to show someone, listen, I got you, I'm taking care of you. Now, that's not to say that like I need someone to baby me or anything like that, but it's really more just those little acts of kindness, those little acts of appreciation, I guess you would say, or acts of service that like, hey, I'm thinking of you. It's funny because if you know the 5 love languages, which by the way, I highly recommend you look up, and these are pretty much 5 ways that we receive love, the way we interpret love. And I thought my primary ones were words of appreciation, and I think quality time or physical touch. I can't remember. But apparently acts of service is in there, because that little thing of like, hey, listen, I did that for you. It's a sign that I'm thinking of you and I love you. And for me, I'm such a lone wolf that I don't like asking for help. I don't like asking people to do things for me. Like when she goes, hey, do you want me to make you food, pancakes? I even stutter to say yes, because I'm so used to doing things myself. So that question was really revealing, and I highly encourage you to ask it. And again, that question is, describe specifically the moment you realized you love me. Let's get into question number 2. Question number 2 is, what was the proudest moment between us? Now, this is a beautiful question. The reason why I love this question is because for a number of reasons. First off, number one, it gets you thinking about your relationship as a team. Because we always think about, what am I proud about? So I'm proud about my actions and what I did, which is typical. But in a relationship, it's a we type of thing, not necessarily a me thing. Where, okay, and once it gets you thinking in the we category, now you start to bond. Now you start to develop that connection where now you depend on each other in a healthy way. And so secondly, when you think about what is our proudest moment, it actually gets you to the point where you get to be proud of your relationship. Because relationships sometimes can fall in the category of feeling like a burden. Like, my relationship, I can't do this because of my relationship. I'm held back because of my relationship, this, that, and the other. But the things that you're proud about are the things that you take care of, the things that you invest in. And so for me, one of my proudest moments when we answer this question, for me, one of my proudest moments was when we got over like one of our big fights. And I honestly, at this point, I really can't remember the details of it, but all I know is that it was ugly. It was a very ugly fight. We got heated, this, that, back and forth. But what I'm really proud about is that afterwards, we were able to talk it out like adults, where we were honest, where we were like, yo, listen, I didn't like what you said. This was fucked up. I don't like how this was handled. I don't like being talked to this way. And I don't like what you did here. So it was honest, but the beautiful part about it is that the way that the other person was receiving it. So not in the way of like being defensive, but no, I didn't mean that. No, you're getting it wrong. No, not like that. We were like, okay, I see where you're coming from. And it makes sense. I can see how that can be hurtful. I feel differently about it, but I hear and I understand where you're coming from. And I'm sorry that was what you experienced. And that for me was our proudest moment, because that for me signified that one, that we loved each other. For me, the effort to repair a relationship shows more effort as far as like loving than like giving flowers. Because it's easy to be lovey-dovey in a regular setting when shit's going great, but when shit's going rough, and then you want to make the effort, like, listen, I'm making the effort to get back to what it was because you're worth it, because I still want this. For me, that's a bigger act of love. And so that was, for me, our proudest moment and what I loved. And so I wonder, for you, ask your partner, what do you think our proudest moment? What moment are you most proud of when it comes to us? And see what you find. I guarantee, like, you'll be surprised. Boom. Let's get into the next question. Next question is, in the time that we have shared together, when have you felt resentment towards me and why? Now, that's what I was telling you. This game, it gets real. It asks the hard, the tough, the real questions. Now, everybody wants to learn all the beautiful things that they have from their partner. Everybody wants to know, when did you fall in love with me? What did you like best about me? What is your favorite quality about me? But we have to know the uncomfortable stuff too. Like this question, that in the time we have shared together, when have you felt resentment towards me and why? Now, this question it's while it may be uncomfortable, but I highly recommend, I think it's important, because resentment in itself, it comes about when there are unspoken needs, unspoken desires. It always happens when you want to say something, but you don't say it, and then you end up being mad at the person for it. And the reality is that, like, hey, listen, the whole resentment has actually been brought about because of you, because, like, you didn't say anything. Like, if you're not happy, say something. And there's a quote out there that says that resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And so, and another quote by one of my mentors, he said that resentment is premeditated. No, he said that uncommunicated needs is premeditated resentment. So by not communicating your needs, you're just pre-deciding to have resentment. And the beautiful part about this question is that it creates a space for your partner to share and be like, hey, this is why I was feeling resentment towards you. And I didn't know how to talk about it before. I was feeling some type of way. And I really didn't like when this happened, or when you did this, or when you said this. And now you create the opportunity to clear the air, because some resentment, you can hold on to that shit for years. And like poison, it could slowly just ruin your relationship. And it could be like if you don't say nothing, it gets to the point where you're like, yo, you see, you're doing that thing again. And in your head, you're like, see, they're doing that thing that they always do. But all that could be prevented had you said something. So this question gives you the space to go and talk back and forth and share that. My recommendation is to not think about it, rather don't think about it personally, but rather see this as a gift to your partner to clear the air, to get something off their chest, to feel better. Because chances are, yes, they might have felt resentment for you. They may feel resentment for you, but what they really want to do is just be able to get off their chest so they can continue loving you. You feel what I'm saying that? And I know, listen, this episode, we're getting mushy gushy, but guys, my man, listen, we let's be real. We're talking relationships here. We're talking emotion. We're talking feeling. Let's be real here, okay? At the end of the day, we want to cuddle. We want peace. You know, we want that lovey-dovey, naked cuddle time. So, and this is stuff we got to go through. We're not here being macho all the time. Sometimes we got to be real. We got to, talk about this emotional stuff. So if you with it, if you're not, you're missing out. So yeah. So my recommendation is to seize this opportunity for your lady to get something off her chest so you can move forward. Now, admittedly, myself, I'm not the best sometimes at hearing these things, but the best thing you can do is just breathe, count to 10, just listen, do not interrupt, and just, rather than hear about blame, see instead, okay, and have empathy for what are the series of events or the factors that cause her to have this reaction, or the series of events or fact that cause her or anyone else to arrive at that conclusion. Have empathy and understanding for that. You don't have to agree, but that is going to do great for you. Next question here, which is, when you close your eyes and think of me, what do you see? Now, this is a beautiful question, because now we're getting into the abstract world. And this is a beautiful opportunity to hear, how do you register in your partner's head? Because yes, we have images. If I want to think of my partner, her picture pops up in my head. At the same time, what represents her in my head? What comes to mind? Or how is she represented in the internal world? And this is a beautiful thing to know. It's how you think of me? And this can bring you closer to your partner. It can help you see yourself through their eyes and realize, wow, I guess I am special. I guess, I see what she sees in me now. And I love this question. For me, when I think about my partner and I close my eyes, is I see, it's funny, like a goofball. I see a goofball with a little kid smile, and it's funny. She hates that I talk about this, but she has this smile where she's like, ooh, like that. But also, there's a feeling that's associated with that, which is a joy, which is a certain spirit of lightness that comes to mind, and which is what what attracts me to her. Like when it comes to mind, when I see her, like I get like the embodiment of joy. And I wonder what your partner would say about you. But just imagine telling that to her. I'm pretty sure she's gonna be like, damn, okay. Oh, so you like me. I like you too, I guess. Or whatever. But that's a beautiful question to answer. To ask. So question number 5, let's get into that. So question number 5 that you can ask her is, what do you think is holding me back? Woo, what a question. What do you think is holding me back? Nobody knows you like your partner. Nobody knows you like your lady. And, I am a very big believer that a good woman, will be one of your wisest counsels. And of course, you always want to, take opinions and take counsel from different area. But your partner that you choose, understand you're just not picking a girlfriend, you're not picking a wife or fiance and stuff like that, but you're also choosing your closest advisor. Because you two are like this. You guys are a pair. You guys have teamed up to take on this thing called life. She is your partner in crime, aka your business partner. And a lot of people would actually like it is a business partner. And so you gotta think about it like that. As you're going on, because all the decisions you do make affect not only you, but also the grand scheme of the family. And on top of that, your wife and partner literally wants the best for you. Literally wants the best for you. And so with that said, they know you back like the back of their head. And they know, okay, this person is great, but this is what continually holds him back. This is what continuously stops him from being great. And by the nature of women, they will tell you, man, like they got this thing, because for them, they're like, listen, you promised me a great man, and they will tell you all the ways that you are fucking up, that you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Trust me, I know. And you could take that as something frustrating, or you could be that like you could be like, yo, you know what, you're right. You're calling me out, and you're right. I'm not living up to my end of the bargain. And so it's time for me to step up. And so that answer could be very beautiful. And you'd be surprised what you hear too. And my recommendation would be just to be open to it. When she says what's holding you back, be open to it. You never know. For me, it is, oh man, we did this a long time ago. I think we did this last year around Valentine's Day, and we have to get back to it again. But I believe for me, she said the thing that is holding me back is that, and she got a point that sometimes I do not see myself as big as I am. I think of myself as small, and I don't really embody the big energy that I happen to give out, she says. That sometimes I don't own my own power, my own authority, my own greatness, and that tends to cause me to act from desperation and lack. And I can see that sometimes. That's something that I am working on. And here's the thing, that I'm working on it for me. Not because she told me to, or because to make her happy. So by the way, whatever your partner tells you, don't start making these changes to make her happy. Do them for yourself. Do them to make yourself better, to unlock the high Super Saiyan version of you. You get what I'm saying? And so this is a very beautiful question to ask. And you can give her that too. Because, hey, listen, out of love, I'm sure she will appreciate, like, wow, he's really my teammate. He really wants me to be great. And it's great to show that support to your partner as well. So now, like, you've taken the level from being like lovey-dovey to being like, yo, no, I'm your partner. I'm your teammate. I got your back. I want to see you be great. So that's a beautiful question to ask, which is, what do you think is holding me back? Now, I decided to add a bonus question in here. And the bonus question, it's funky, so I love it. And that question is, what do I smell like? Like, that's wild, right? Asking your partner, what do I smell like? And it's something we never really think about, but I love this question because of how random it is and how it gets you thinking completely different from the classical sense of how we think about our partner. Typically, we think about them in terms of feelings. Sometimes we think about them in terms of like images and memories that we have of them. And that and those things put together has her being a certain way when when you think about it in terms of like, how do I smell? It's like, whoa, I've never thought of you like that. And now you just added a new layer to your partner. And so it's like, it's pretty interesting when you find that out. And sometimes it's hard to describe, but ask your partner that question: what do I smell like? And then ask her, and then I'm sure she'll ask you, and then you tell what she smelled like. But these questions are funky. These questions overall, like, I'll read them again. The questions, right, by the way, are: describe the moment you realized you love me. What was the proudest moment between us? In the time we have shared together, when have you felt resentment towards me, and why? When you close your eyes and think of me, what do you see? What do you think is holding me back? And lastly, what do I smell like? Again, the point of these questions is to get you thinking about you, your relationship, your partner in a new light. And also, it's the intention, I think, is to create the space to have real talk. Not try to be perfect, not try to be defensive, not try to worry about hurting feelings. It's just like an opportunity just to be real in all aspects of, how I feel about you. How do you feel about me? What are you angry about? What are you not angry about? What do you think I could be capable of in the future? What are some things that you wish I did different, better? Is there someone else that you wish had, that was better in bed than me? I don't know. I'm just here making up stuff. But the beautiful part about it is, again, is that after these conversations, you get to know the real her and she gets to know the real you. And it's done in as a space where there's no judgment. You don't have to worry about your manhood being tested, crumbling, or getting a fight or anything like that. The only requirement is honesty, vulnerability, and authenticity in your remarks. That's really all it is. And so I highly recommend you try these questions. The book, or rather the game that I got this from, is called The And. So it's really the TH and A-N-D. Just Google The And card game, and I'm sure something will come up. And get them. And if you like these questions, let me know. I could share with you a couple more, and we just keep going with them. But use these questions, and the idea is, especially this Valentine's Day season, is, as a guy in the relationship, for me, in my mind, the point of a relationship is not just to maintain. It's to keep digging, to keep growing, keep growing. Little actions every day with the intention, let's grow 1%. How can we grow in love? How can we grow in connection 1% every day? And this is an example of doing that. And so if you want, you can actually spread them out. Maybe you could do like a date night once a week and answer a few of these questions, or maybe you can spread them out over the course of a year. But all in all, that's what you want to do. You want to be real. You want to just get to know your partner 1% more, and just have the intention, how can we grow in love 1% more? And that is the key to keeping a good thing going. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for hopping on. Next week, I got something special for the single guys out there this Valentine's Day season. And if you enjoyed it, please do me a favor. Please leave a review and a like, and share this bad boy. That helps get the message out. It helps turn the world around, make better guys. So if you vibe with my mission of building better men, do me a favor, leave a review and share this bad boy. With that said, thank you again for hopping on the Red Velvet Podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Rosario. I want you to stay velvet out there, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.